And we will start our meeting in order to ensure that we do not delay members for their caucus meetings. The agenda as well as the minutes and documents of the meeting have been circulated to all members. And I would now ask the secretary if there are any apologies.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I have received no apology. If any of my colleagues did get one, they will indicate. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any apologies that maybe members would like to put? Honorable Papani?
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I want to put forward the apology of the Chief Whip. He'll be joining the meeting soon. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other apology?
Speaker,
Yes.
we've just received a notification that Deputy Speaker's flight has been delayed and she might be late in joining.
Okay, thank you very much. If there are no other apologies, can we move to the consideration of the agenda? Can I get a mover?
Chair.
Move.
Chair.
Honorable Reddy?
Yeah, with the inclusion of just one item, communication, intra-communication between the programming members, committee members, I will gladly move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any seconder?
I second the agenda, Speaker.
Thank you. Agenda has been seconded with that addition before closure on the communications, intra-communication. Thank you very much. Can we now move to the reports committee section and the bills office?
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Good morning, honorable members. May I please ask Mr. Darren Arends just to project the presentation on my behalf? Thank you, Mr. Arends. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, there is limited changes to the program to the matters before committees this week. If we go to slide 2, we will note that there's still only 17 bills before Parliament. 31 bills before Parliament, 17 of which is executive bills and 14 that are private members' bills. We have 8 petitions, 13 petitions and 8 statutory appointments. On slide 3 and 4, we highlight the bills, the lists of the bills, and you will note that there's nothing new in terms of the executive members' bills, but on the private members' bills, there has been the 14th one, the Constitution 23rd Amendment Bill. That bill has been placed on the NA order paper for first reading. We would then proceed to the slides with red. Erroneously, slide number 8 was retained, but we have dealt with that specific bill and it will be removed from the slide pack going forward. Our first change is then on slide number 11. Slide number 11 speaks to the Tobacco Products and Electronic Delivery Systems Control Bill. The consideration of the motion of desirability is estimated to take place on the 11th of March. We then move to slide number 26. Slide number 26, in terms of the illegal eviction. Mr. Arends, if you could just scroll up a bit so I can see the actual full slide. Prevention of illegal eviction from unlawful occupation and land amendment bill. The agenda item to consider the motion of desirability was withdrawn, pending further consultations. Initially, it was intended to be finalized by the 18th of February. Then on slide 27, We note the insourcing bill. So that bill, there was a briefing on the bill that took place on the 4th of March by Honorable Maudwe. We can move to slide 28. Slide 28 just indicates that the South African National Petroleum Company bill is set to be finalized by third term. Slide 33. Slide 33, because we did not have a NAPC meeting last week, we could not present this progress. But members would be aware that the Special Appropriations Bill, Bill 3 of 2026, was referred on the 25th of February. As per our knowledge, it provides for an additional amount of money to be withdrawn from the National Revenue Fund. The briefing by the committee as well as the Parliamentary Budget Office, the Financial and Fiscal Commission was happening on the 6th, will happen on the 6th of March, which is tomorrow. It is set to be finalized by the 25th of March 2026. On slide 34, we also see a bill that was introduced at the same time. It relates to the fiscal framework, and the briefing on the FFC and the PBO will happen on the 3rd of, has happened on the 3rd of March, with public hearing scheduled for the 10th of March 2026. The expected date to finalize the bill is the 17th of March 2026. That is then all progress that we have on bills. We will move on to the next section, and we will look at slide number 37. This is relating to the appointment of the board of the National Council of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. So those interviews were held earlier in February, and on the 3rd of March this week, the report was adopted by the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Members would have noted that it did in fact get published on the ATC yesterday on the 4th of March 2026. We move on to slide 38. Slide 38 relates to the appointment of commissioners on the Commission of Gender Equality. That was a process that has to be repeated. And in terms of that, the short listing will commence on the 24th of March 2026. We then move to slide 41, which is a slide relating to the Aviation Safety Investigation Board. Here, the report is scheduled to be adopted on the 10th of March and the matter to be concluded on the same date. In regards to the Transport Economic Council bill, the date of interviews has been set. If you can scroll up a bit, Mr. Arends, for the 5th and 6th of March initially, but then it was deferred to happen on the 6th and also on the 8th of March, Chairperson. We move on to the next slide, which is relating to the petition of Mr. G.A. Werner on behalf of the community of the urgent security and rehabilitation of the Withrow Dam Quarry in Bloemfontein. That report was adopted on the 3rd of March 2026, so that matter will also fall off from the report going forward. Our last update relates to the recently received petition on disability. That petition was directed to the Transport Committee due to the fact that it's calling for the amendment on the Enforcement of Land Transport Act in order to guarantee equitable, reliable, and accessible transport services for persons with disabilities. So this committee has other matters that is currently before it, and it is now estimated that the committee should be dealing with it towards the end of this month, but that is still subject to inclusion of it into the committee program. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Speaker and honorable members. That is the extent of the changes to the matters before committees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Legal Services, presentation of the bills.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. Thank you so much. Currently, we concur that we've got 31 bills before the NA committees, 17 of which are executive bills and 14 are private members' bills. So we'll report from slide number 2, where we recently had the introduction of 3 money bills on the 25th of February by the Minister of Finance. One of those bills is the Special Appropriation Bill, B3 of 2023, which was referred to the Standing Committee on Appropriations. The next reporting slide is slide number 3. On slide number 3, Honorable Speaker, we're just giving this information to the committee that this slide contains a list of private members' bills which are currently before committees. It details the specific portfolio committee to which each bill was referred, alongside the name of the member who introduced that type of legislation. So this is the information that we will continue giving on this slide on private members' bills. The next reporting slide is slide number 4. On slide number 4, the 2 money bills that were introduced on budget day and are to be referred to committees once the House has considered and adopted the fiscal framework and the revenue proposals, which is scheduled for the 24th of March, are the Appropriation Bill, B4 of 2026, and the Division of Revenue Bill, B5 of 2026. The next reporting slide is slide number 5. On slide number 5, there are currently 5 bills on NA order paper after the House has, on the 24th of February, revived the National Gambling Amendment Bill, Performing Animals Protection Amendment Bill, and the Electoral Laws Amendment Bill. And again, the Portfolio Committee on COGTA also reported on the Independent Municipal Demarcation Authority Bill as B14D of 2022 on the 25th of February. The report was published in the ATC on the same day, and then the bill is now on the NA order paper for consideration by the House. So if passed, it will be sent to the President for assent. So the Bill's office is also working on the act of this bill to be sent to the President. The next reporting slide is slide number 8. On slide number 8, Honorable Speaker, there are 2 new draft bills before Parliament that we have received and being certified by the state law advisors. The first one is the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Bill. This is an executive bill. And the second one is the Public Procurement Amendment Bill. This one is a private members' bill. And these bills are to be introduced. The private members' bill, is to be introduced by Honorable Cuthbert. So the Bill's office is processing and preparing these 2 bills for introduction as soon as possible. The next reporting slide is slide number 10. On slide number 10, we've got bills that were passed on the 27th of February, which is the 3 tax bills, namely the Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendment of Revenue Laws Bill, B14 of 2025, the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, B29 of 2025, and the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, B30 of 2025. The Bill's office is still in the process of preparing these bills with their second language for submission to the President for assent. All 3 bills are having a second language in Afrikaans. So with these 3 bills having been passed, there will be 7 bills with the President for assent. And then the last reporting slide is slide number 7. Sorry, 11. On slide number 11, President has recently signed the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Act as Act number 10 of 2025. The assent was also published in the ATC of the 4th of March. So the second language of this bill is isiZulu. The act will be sent to the Constitutional Court for safekeeping. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, can I hand over to Advocate van den Merwe to continue our report? Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Mbata. Advocate Van der Merwe.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to you and to the members. Just to remind members that there's also a report, a full report circulated to all members that deals with all the matters where there is a suspended order by the Constitutional Court. But specifically, we want to report on these two matters where there has been progress made. The first one is the matter of Van Wyk. It deals with labor legislation. And we have very recently received confirmation from the Department of Labor that they have, in fact, already developed legislative amendments and that they are targeting introduction actually still very soon, April 2026. The next is Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Amendment Bill, which you've actually already just heard has been received by the Bill's office. The bill has been certified and the department is in fact briefing the Portfolio Committee next week on the 10th of March. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, honorable members. These are two reports from committee and the bill section. It's now open for discussion. Honorable Kalipi, you're on the floor.
Morning, good morning.
Honorable Reddy.
Okay, good morning, Honorable Speaker and colleagues on the platform. Honorable Speaker, I just want to get a clarity. I'll make an example of the Electoral Commission bill. So my understanding, this bill was introduced in 2023. This is 2026, and it's stated here that the briefing by the Deputy Speaker, it was 18 November 2025. Further to that, the committee will deliberate on the motion of the desirability of the bill in the second term of Parliament. So my concern, Speaker, according to the report, I know it can't go to details, but the sense that we're getting here, this bill is not moving. So my central concern is that the bill is taking too long in Parliament. If we can also get into understanding why is that, because we ended up losing interest or losing the tracks of the bills that were introduced to address certain things in the country. If I can get that clarity, Speaker, I'll be very happy. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Honorable Reddy.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Please excuse me, I'm just down with the flu. I just want to raise one issue, and that is around time frames. You know, I don't think it should be accepted in this committee where it's stated that as soon as possible. As soon as possible, I think we're going to continue having questions raised by Honorable Kalipi about why bills are being delayed since for so many years. I think it's important that when we're getting these reports, there has to be a specific time given. For example, the traditional and Khoisan bill. As the MK party, we have an interest in this bill and we want to see this coming before Parliament as soon as possible so that we could engage on this. And then we are told as soon as possible. Then we get the second presenter that says the 10th of March, giving us a date of the 10th of March. I think what we need to do with every bill is to tighten it up with specific dates, specific timelines, and then we can monitor that as a committee, Honorable Speaker. Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Reddy. Are there any people who want to make an intervention? Well, I'll ask the team to respond on those two questions, but also just to say, Honorable Reddy, where we should be focusing is also how committees are dealing with legislation. Because what committees section reports, it's what they get from the committees themselves. So I think the points need to be raised with the chairpersons of committees, but also ask our members in our caucuses who participate in the different committees to make sure that there is no delay in how they program their business of the committees to actually prioritize legislation. Not that they can do away with other things, but it's important that when committees have got bills in front of them, they must pay special attention in ensuring that the bills do not stay more than it is necessary. I will now ask the team to respond, unless Honorable Reddy, you want to say something?
Yeah. Honorable Speaker, I agree with you. I hear what you're saying. But I think by us fixing it down to time frames, it then also ensures that committees have something to work towards. And if they don't meet that, it then becomes a sort of a red flag that we're able to see at a glance where the delays are. So I think all I'm saying is if we can put the time frames in, there might be excuses that come up later. Fine, we can entertain them, but then committees then will become bound to the times that's already set. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Reddy, thank you very much. I'm sure Honorable Frolik will address that matter with chairpersons. I don't think as the programming committee, we can put time frames on what, when the bills must serve in front of the House, because it is committees that schedule their program. And that's why I'm saying we all have responsibilities at a party level, at the committees section level, to make sure that once a bill is in a committee, the committee must actually do what is necessary to make sure that that bill is dealt with. And the committee house chairperson is here, and I'm sure he hears the sentiments. He'll be able to address them with the various chairpersons of committees. Members, can you please address the issue that was raised by Honorable Kalipi in respect of the bill that has been tabled?
Good morning once again, Honorable Speaker. We do not have the relevant detail at this time. I will commit to inquire and then to send a written response on the email to all members to give an update. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, House Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to the other colleagues that are on the platform. Firstly, Speaker, as far as the traditional Khoisan leadership bill is concerned, the bill has been reintroduced now, and the report clearly stated that the committee will receive a departmental briefing next week on the 10th. And from there, the committee will develop a program, and all political parties are represented. Or most of the political parties are represented in the committee. I think all parties have interest in this bill, and that is where the political parties' representatives must make their input and ensure that they stick to the program that they've agreed upon. And I've noted the broader sentiments that has been expressed. And then I must also indicate, Honourable Speaker, as far as the Home Affairs Committee is concerned, the electoral bill that's being referred to, it's a private member's bill. That committee has been ceased with public hearings going around the country to finalize another piece of legislation. And I'm quite sure that by next week, the manager in the committee section will be able to provide details on private members' bills. I may also indicate, Speaker, that some of these delays usually also set in due to the committee program, but also the availability of the member or the department who must come and respond to the issues that has been raised by committee members. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, House Chair, Honourable Kalipi.
Thanks, Speaker. I think the real issue or the concern here is the length of the process of the bill. Because at some point, the Speaker, uthola kuze kuphela term of office, and then that bill is not concluded. And we have to start all over again on the new term. As much as you are saying that the committee must cease to finish, but I think on your side, we need the guidance in order to have that time frame that Honorable Reddy was talking about. For instance, Cocta Portfolio Committee had a study tour to Denmark, and one of the things that study tour learned is that the bill is processed within a month in Denmark. So maybe some of the things that we learn from abroad or from other countries can be also tested here, because it's really frustrating, Speaker. Ngoba agcine selapsile amanye amabhill kanti asuke introduce because of inhloso ethile. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kalipi. We really appreciate the lessons learned, and I'm sure the committee will share with all of us. If I may just remind members, on the start of the 7th Parliament, this was one of the issues that the programming committee dealt with. we had a presentation from the Bill's office where they took us on detail as to how the bills are processed and how long it takes, give or take, if it's a bill that is dealing with technical matters or if it's a bill that, completely overhaul and deals with other policy matters. Give or take, it's about 18 months. And all of us agreed that that time needs to be brought down. We communicated also to the chairpersons and appealed to them that where a committee has legislation, priority must be given to make sure that that legislation is dealt with. And unfortunately, we have not yet been able to make sure that committees prioritize legislation. You will find committees prioritizing oversight and not putting much effort on the legislation. And I know Honorable Frolik has addressed these matters with committees. We will try as best as we can to make sure that, the time is shortened, but it's really incumbent upon committees to make sure that they themselves take seriously legislative program. What we actually find in the balance of oversight, and legislation, that there's more veering from committees to do more oversight visits, either internally or externally, and do not spend much time on legislation, but we do take note of what members are raising. And I think we can ask the House chairperson on committees maybe next week to make some tentative proposals on how we could deal with this issue. And again, it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that through our representatives in these committees, this matter is actually brought to the attention of our committees on the seriousness of legislation, to avoid what Honorable Mkalipi is saying about the lapsing of legislation at the end of the term. Thank you very much. I do not see any other hand. We can then go to the consideration of the parliamentary program, which again has been circulated to you. I would ask Honorable Dagmo to take us through, maybe just lifting those issues that I knew on the program.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think just starting with today, I think one important matter to highlight to the meeting is that item number 1 in the plenary session is the consideration of the interim report of the Portfolio Committee relating to the issue of the statutory rape of young girls. That's an important committee. And then secondly, and this matter was also briefly discussed at the Chief Whip's meeting, the President has actually raised the issue of delays in filling the vacancies to the National Council on Gender-Based Violence Board. The committee has now dealt with that. It's been ATC'd. And I just want to bring to members' attention, all the political parties, that a majority of 201, given that this is a nomination to fill vacancies, is actually needed to pass that item number 2. So, and then the rest of the reports are there. There's nothing new to add. And then we all are aware of the mini plenary sessions. All the topics are listed there for Friday. And then just a quick look at next week before I make a final point. We have a plenary on Tuesday, the 10th of March, which will include member statements, given the other statement by the Minister of Justice as a ministerial statement, and those other reports, plus the debate on International Women's Day. We will not be having motions by members. And then we're aware of the program for the 11th of March and the program for the 12th of March as well, which will include questions to our president, who will be coming. I think that's all I really want to indicate, but just the one issue members would be aware, and if we could just go to the end of the month, the period just before Easter, I'd just like to point something out to members there. Yeah, if we look at week 10, Tuesday, the 31st of March, is now allocated fully to committees. So is Wednesday, the 1st of April. And then Thursday, the 2nd of April, the day before Good Friday, is now allocated as a constituency day, which would allow members to be with their families and in their constituencies for Good Friday, those that celebrate Easter. So the matter that we had to deal with there was finding a new date in consultation with Honourable Mani, the Chair of Appropriations, to deal with the Division of Revenue. And the proposal now is that gets dealt with in April, on Tuesday, the 22nd of April, after the constituency period, when we are back. You will see that at the bottom, the constituency period ends the 20th of April, and then we would deal with that Division of Revenue on the 21st. Speaker, I think that's all I want to touch on for now, and I think just make an appeal for solid attendance today, so that those nominations can be sorted out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Castle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If the colleagues can take the program to the first page, maybe the page before today's program, the training program. Yes, we just want to indicate that those are the dates identified for members training in the NA. And we want to draw attention to item number 2. That will be a webinar. It's online on the 23rd and the 24th of April, offered by the University of Stellenbosch. Members are encouraged to attend that webinar. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Castle. Also, just to indicate on point 1, the IPU webinar on building AI literacy in parliamentarians. These, particularly the IPU one, as you know, that we're the member of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. So that webinar is open for all members who would like to participate on it and register themselves. They are all online. Honorable Reddy, you have your hand up. And
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Following.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you to Honorable Dagmo for that report. There were 2 items I wanted to raise. The first has been covered by Mr. Caso, but I think I just want to emphasize the importance of the training schedule. Sometimes we just relegate this to just an item on the agenda, but I think it's important because the topics here are quite critical. So I think that if we could take note and inform our caucuses and ensure that our caucuses participate in these, that we send out notices to parties timeously so members can be made aware. I recall the last training session was very poorly organized. Notices were coming very late, and as a result, the attendance was not too good. So I would suggest that specific invitations be sent out so that members could participate. Honorable Speaker, I just want to go to the program for the coming week. And I want to note especially the times of each session. Let's look at Tuesday, the 10th of March, a total of 296 minutes has been allocated. Then you go to Wednesday, the total time allocated is 210 minutes. And Thursday, it's 180 minutes. Now, I want to ask Mr. Caso, or ask you, is there any particular reason why we do not have statements on the day that we ask the president questions or when the president is in the house? Don't you think that it will be more impactful, more meaningful if we included statements on the Thursday, the 12th of March, so parties can start to prepare and make these statements so that the president can hear? I mean, it is an honor to have the president to be in the house, and it's good for him to also hear the views that comes from parties around issues that they pick up in their constituencies and positions that they hold. I think it's important for him to hear this. I do understand that there may be a need to protect the president in some way or the other, but I don't. In fact, if we include statements on Thursday, the 12th of March, we then more or less bring the timing to almost the same. We reduce the time load on Tuesday. Now, I know that the table will argue, well, some parties don't take advantage of this. We can't speculate. We base our program based on times allocated to parties, and that's how we work the program. We can't just speculate and say some parties won't submit and won't take up their times. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mkhaliphi.
Ngiyabonga, Speaker. Speaker, one, I want to raise an issue that happened yesterday in the plenary, whereby we always raise this issue here and in the Chiefs Forum. And we were dealing with this issue, last year already, whereby the minister come to the House, knowing very well that he got this question in time, but come and say, I'm not prepared, or I don't have a sufficient answer. I'm referring to the Minister of Police, whereby the question was about the GBV, a young woman who was brutally killed. And that issue is already flying in all over in South Africa, including Madlanga Commission, including ad hoc committee. So I'm appealing to you, Speaker, and whoever who's responsible for the ministers not to come and take Parliament for granted. That is number one. On the program, Speaker, there is a joint standing committee on intelligence. So our member there is not part and parcel because he has not been vetted or the clearance she's supposed to be getting. So I think let us make a follow-up on that one, Speaker. Thank you very much.
House Chair.
No, thank you, Honorable Speaker. No, Honorable Speaker, just to indicate that we need to take the matter further with the leader of government business in terms of the quality of the responses that we do get during question time. And it creates an unnecessary situation in the House where clearly you can see either the minister has not been provided by his staff, or in this case, the police leadership with the relevant information. And it should be an interactive session. And if there's no information available, it defeats the purpose of having follow-up questions to the minister when the minister gets up and say, well, that is all information I have, nothing further to report. But we need to deal with that. The second one, Honorable Speaker, is that it's been a long-standing practice and convention in the House that when we have questions to the President, the head of state, that we do not include other items on the agenda, unless, of course, there are urgent matters that can be moved to after the President has responded to the questions. And the issue of statements, that is something that the programming whip must look at, but really it will create, and it's open for discussion, of course, it will create a new precedent to have statements before the questions to the President. That day has been set aside. We don't have statements when we have a question session to ministers on a Wednesday, and that is how the program is structured. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Reddy, you've got your hand up.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. I don't want to engage in a debate with my dear colleague and honorable member there, Frolic. I just want to say that we cannot use the response. It's been a long tradition. I mean, we're always reviewing things. We're always reviewing things, and we've got to look at what are the reasons that we're not allowing the President to hear statements from parties. Why, Honorable Speaker? Why can't we allow that? Why do we say that when the President is there? And look at the timing now. You've created a situation where on the Tuesday you've got 296 minutes.
Honorable Reddy,
yes.
Can you please allow us? Members were raising their points. Honorable members reflect on the views that they have on the matter. Can we please allow Mr. Klaso in terms of our rules? And if there's a need to review the matter and have a discussion, that cannot be done in the programming committee, Honorable Reddy. Mr. Klaso?
Do what?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Home, baby.
Honorable Mkhaliphi. Honorable Mkhaliphi, can you please switch off your mic?
Did I hear that correctly there, what I just heard? My
Honorable
God.
Reddy,
I'm with the DSG
you
and
are
Komis
out of
Mandisa, that we
order.
call each other babies here. Sorry, Speaker.
Honorable members, you are forgetting this platform is open to the public. Please.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable House Chairperson has made a point, but I would like to point out that in terms of the rules, questions have precedence on question days. So even if we went for that arrangement, questions will be taken first and then member statements. But I also want to indicate that, as members know, the president is not a member of the House. So there would not ordinarily be a requirement for him to stay there for the business of the House, of course, except on special days. I think that's all that I can say. Maybe it's a conversation that should be had in the Chief Whips Forum, and if necessary, in the Rules Committee. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Kwankwa?
I speak as Nadine. Sanu defers the items to the whips. The rules are clear on this matter. There's nothing to defer to the whips. We simply follow what the rules say, and then we can have some other political consultation at some future point in time if the matter needs to be reviewed. But there's a reason why we have question days. And I do think that we can now begin to dilute question days and start adding other issues. If they follow after the question session, perfectly fine, but not before. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Members have reflected, but also have been guided by the rules. And I think as a convention, if there's any proposal for a review of our rules, that would have to be sent to the speaker for referral to the rules committee so that the matter can be dealt with there. Thank you very much, honorable members. Can we go to the consideration of our minutes, which have been circulated? Are there any questions or clarity or corrections that members may want to raise on our minutes? Honorable Reddy?
Honorable Speaker, I've been through the minutes and I'm glad to move for the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
I second, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwankwa. Are there matters arising, Mr. Castle?
Madam Speaker, only one issue that I would like to raise, which was discussed yesterday in the Chief Whips Forum. It's the ad hoc committee on villages. We must extend the term of that ad hoc committee. It's meant to expire on the 31st of March. So we are consulting. In the course of next week, there will be a motion extending the term of that committee. And Madam Speaker, just to maybe sneak in this one point, which I omitted to mention, Honorable Dagmo did indicate that the Gender Council requires a majority of 201 members this afternoon, which means that whips will have to do some form of show of support or voting, where whips will indicate how many of their members are in the House and how many support the motion. Thank you, Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Castle. Can we now deal with the issue Honorable Reddy proposed about intra-communication?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, I just want to, one of the things that has become very clear now that I also serve on the Chief Whips Forum is that not all Chief Whips are on the programming committee. So it is important that we also have some form of communication. I'm proposing very simply, so in the interest of time, is that we set up a WhatsApp group for the programming committee so that we could receive agenda items and so on in the programming committee. That's all. I think it will just assist with communication between members of this committee. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Cameron?
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think ultimately, this decision, our Speaker chairs the programming committee and leads the programming committee. another WhatsApp group, in my view, is not needed, as communication is given via email. Notice is given of these meetings, and we deal with the minutes at these meetings. So I personally don't see the need for that, but ultimately I think it's a decision that the speaker needs to consider. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Honorable Reddy, we've noted the point that you are raising. If it's about ensuring that all whips do get the notices of the meeting of the programming committee, I think we can just do what we do as of now. I am not yet convinced that we need a WhatsApp group for the programming committee. We'll monitor and ensure that if it's about letting all the other whips to know of a programming committee meeting and the agenda, we can do that circulation. Thank you very much, honorable members. This brings us to the end of our meeting. Meeting closed. All the best to your caucuses. The session, as is always, will start at 2. Thank you.